And now we have another special guest as well, Dr. Elaina George, an otolaryngologist, and to anybody listening that's an ENT or ear, nose, and throat doctor that may not have been familiar before. She is the host of Medicine on Call and an author as well. She graduated from Princeton University with a degree in biology. She received her master's degree in microbiology from Long Island University and received her medical degree from Mount Sinai in New York. She completed her residency in Manhattan Ear and Eye Hospital, and she has done some training at Lenox Hill Hospital and Pediatric ENT, New York Presbyterian Hospital, and Head and Neck Oncology at Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is a well-known cancer treatment center in the New York area and northern New Jersey. As a solo physician in private practice, and she's also a small business owner, she has a unique perspective in the problems of healthcare delivery and the true costs of healthcare and viable solutions. Dr. George's interest in politics and healthcare and reform have led her to become a powerful voice for the practicing physician and an advocate for the patient. She has been on multiple network news shows, including Your World with Neil Cavuto, hosts her own show, Medicine on Call, on America's Web Radio. And she is author of Big Medicine, The Cost of Corporate Control, and How Doctors and Patients Working Together Can Rebuild a Better System. So I ask you to welcome Dr. Elaina George. Thank you, Dr. George.
Thank you all for being here. And I know it's been quite a long day. And, you know, the good thing about going last is that it's almost over. And the bad thing about going last is that many of the speakers spoke to the essence of why we're all here. I mean, we all love what we do. We all have a passion for what we do. And it is systematically being taken away from us. So I'm going to go through a majority of the slides relatively quickly because I think, you know, we basically heard a lot of the concepts. But it is important to figure out how we got here. Because if we don't do that, we're doomed to repeat the same thing over and over again. So we got here because we basically let the insurance companies and marketing run the show. We stood down. We let them tell us our value. We let them basically make it a fast food type of environment where you could pay nothing, pay a copay, come and see your doctor, and get care. And everybody was equal. And that really wasn't the case. We're not the same as the other allied healthcare professionals. I spent 6 years training to be an ENT alone. And I don't think that equals somebody coming out with 2 years of training, taking care of my patients, giving them amoxicillin or whatever it is, and have them not get better, or better yet, not even touch them, and not even listen to a history, but type it in based on a chief complaint. I took offense to that. We have some responsibility, though. And I think it's important to realize that we helped the situation get started. And we did a few things that led us down this path. And I think fear was one of the major things that started the ball rolling. When we joined insurance panels about reading the contracts, I did it. I remember when I first opened my practice, I was told you need to get on as many insurances as you can because you won't have patients. And I signed everything I could sign. And around about 2005, when I started to see my reimbursements get to a point that it was untenable, when I stopped doing head and neck, when I stopped doing pediatric ENT because I couldn't afford it, I started to read these contracts. I mean, who would sign something that says you do the procedure and they can take the money back for the life of the patient, but you only have 90 days. Sorry. Hear me now? Okay. So when we signed these contracts, we did that with the mindset of it was an equal playing field. We came to this table with good intentions. And our intention was to take care of our patients, to make it easy for them, to actually be their advocate. That's what we went into this game to do. And it's rigged. It doesn't work. Every time we ceded ground, hoping that, okay, we give this one little inch, it'll work, they come back at us tenfold. We added extenders to try to increase the number of patients we see. we started calling in prescriptions for patients who, because there were so many people in our office, we wanted to make our patients happy, so we called in prescriptions. We limited the scope of practice like I just described. I trained at Sloan Kettering. I did head and neck with the best ENT surgeons, head and neck in the country, and I don't do it anymore. That's not helping my patients, and I really regret the fact that I allowed a third party to dictate to me what my value is as a doctor. But I stopped doing that. When we lost the sense of value and purpose, with that, the accompanying loss of joy, that opened the door for them to do what they're doing right now. We opened the door, they stepped through it, and they're trying to tell us that we should feel bad about making a living, about being an advocate for a patient, about doing well. It's like it's some sort of disease. We're the problem. We're cutting out tonsils, cutting feet off, doing whatever we can to make a buck at the expense of our patients. And again, it's marketing. It's not us doing that. We are not the cause of the healthcare costs in this country. Let's be honest. We're making less and less. We're working harder and harder. We are unhappy. There's 400 doctors a year committing suicide. This cannot be where we need to go. And it's about finding the joy. And that means you have to start valuing yourself. And it's a thing that I had to come to myself. I got angry. I went through grief. I remember being on vacation and just crying because I was so unhappy. I love being a doctor. It's all I ever wanted to do from the time I was 2 or 3. Well, actually, first was a veterinarian, then it was a physician, always a surgeon, and somebody had the unmitigated goal to try to steal that from me, steal that from me, to take it, and to make me feel like I was the bad guy. And it just really just got to me, got in my craw. And I'm one of those people who, I'll whine a little bit, but I don't like whining. I like fixing the problem. And the problem is we are being victimized and we are being made to be the fall guy. And we're such nice people. We don't like to make waves. We just like to get it done. We like to see patients. We like to just get our jobs done. And we'll work as hard as we have to. And we'll do whatever we need to get to the end point. But I don't think we can play the game anymore. The game is definitely broken. Affordable Care Act, now after the Supreme Court decision, is here to stay until they create another law to get rid of it. We need to really come to terms with that. And with that, third-party payers are going to get more powerful. We can do what we want. We can play the game further. But I foresee the future where maybe there's 1 or 2 insurance companies left. They get to really decide what the reimbursements are. They're already practicing medicine. If I do an allergy test, it's now considered to be experimental. Pulmonary function studies are experimental. Are you kidding me? It's all about collecting the money from the patient, telling the patient that we're stealing from them, and then not paying us either. So it's a one-way system. And it's got to stop. And we're the people who have the power to make it stop. This system cannot run without us. I don't care how many nurse practitioners, and no offense, how many physician assistants, how many ancillary, allied health professionals they try to stick in to their algorithm. They're not us. They didn't train the way we do. They don't understand the physiology, the pathophysiology that we do. And they don't have the same Hippocratic Oath. And that's what it comes down to. It's all about the Hippocratic Oath. Not evidence-based medicine, not population-based medicine, about individualized care. There's nothing that makes me happier than to see a patient who comes in with a billion problems, basically crying when you're doing their history, and you listen to them. You sit down and you're looking at them eye to eye, and you're reading their body language, and you're feeling the energy, and you have a connection, and you've made your diagnosis just by the history, because you had enough time to do it, and you confirmed it with your physical exam, and have them thank you, and walk out of that door saying, I feel so much better. You didn't even write a prescription necessarily, but they felt better because you listened to them. You were their advocate. They felt you, that you were going to have their back no matter what. It wasn't Aetna, it wasn't Cigna, it wasn't somebody telling you what you couldn't do. It was you doing whatever you needed to do to get the job done as the advocate for that patient. What we allowed, what we allowed to happen was the rise of the provider. I can't stand that term. I'm a doctor. I refuse to be known as the provider. When they did that, they lumped us all into one group, like we're all interchangeable, that a surgeon is equal to a physician assistant, that a nurse practitioner is equal to a registered nurse. I mean, they've done it throughout the whole system, and that's what the accountable care organization model is all about. It's about a pool of the money being distilled down to like largesse from some sort of big, entity, and we should be happy that we get a crumb. And I can tell you, as soon as they've been trying for years now to get us all out of private practice. And when they do that, the money that we've made for those of us who've gone into hospital-based systems is going to be less. You're going to be making less money, you're going to be working harder, and they're going to make sure you have nowhere to go, whether that's by maintenance of certification, whether that's by having your licensure nationalized, whether it's by making you have to take a board over and over again. They're going to do something to us to make us beholden to them. And that's what they want. They want us powerless, they want us weak, and they want us to feel that we can't do for our patients, we can't do for ourselves. We'll just take a crumb and like it. I mean, we can't go there, guys. We can't do it. If we do that, medicine will change forever. And the ICD-10, I listened to the talk, it was outstanding. But what it is socialized medicine. And if you look at the fee scale of the Canadian doctors, they make pennies on the dollar. They're so unhappy they leave and go elsewhere to actually perform the medical services, and then they come back and take care of the Canadian population. If they're not happy, there's no joy, there's no innovation. They just get up and go to work and be a drone and go home. Do you really want that to happen to us? We are the last people standing because we're the last, developed country to join ICD-10, even though now that I know it's not really ICD-10, I'm not all that surprised. It's all about control, not about healthcare. So how do we get out of this? The Affordable Care Act, I think everybody's pretty much come to terms. It's not about healthcare, it's about control. And it's about centralization of the healthcare system. We are the cogs, we are the engine that runs it. If we decide we want to not play this game, it cannot run without us. Yes, they can get, doctors who are foreign grads to come in, they can do that, but they still don't have enough to make it run. And our job, this is a great time to live as a doctor. I said in a speech about a month and a half ago that I thought the Affordable Care Act and the finding by the Supreme Court was a great thing. And people are like, oh my God, how could you say that? Because we can stop pretending. Because we can stop thinking that someone's going to help us. Because we can stop waiting for the next round of elections to vote the next group in to ignore us. Let's stop doing it. Let's take our power back now. We have everything at our disposal to do it. Now we have the mindset of we're done, I hope, that we're just done with this. And it's about being collegial with our patients, about being their advocate and letting them know, educating them. I go on tons of radio shows, news shows, and every time I go on and talk to people as a physician, not as a pundit, but as a practicing physician, boy, do the ears they just perk right up. It's like we're a hidden entity. We've decided to hold our pain in, not explain what's really going on with us, keep a stiff upper lip kind of thing, when we should be out there telling people exactly what it's about. Patients know something's wrong. They know it. They don't have anybody to educate them. And they're being told by the Affordable Care Act folks that you should be happy that we're spending less money, that this is a win. Well, it's a win because you can't afford to see your doctor, can't afford to have a surgery, can't afford to get a lab done. But you're going to pay more for the privilege, 40% more in some of these the new round of premiums that's coming down the pipe. But within the Affordable Care Act is a little jewel that nobody knows about, and it's called medical cost sharing. A lot of people don't know about it. We know about direct pay, membership, subscription models, bartering, which I do in my practice, sliding scale for fee-for-service, and I've adopted a hybrid strategy because I see it down the road. I'm going to have to get out of third party altogether, but right now, I'm easing my way out. I left Medicaid and Medicare about 5 years ago, and I've systematically left about 3 or 4 big, global insurance companies, and I'm busier now, and I'm making more money than I did before. I mean, I'm done with you doing everything you're supposed to, getting your pre-cert, and then them coming back with it's not medically necessary, it's experimental. How many times are we going to listen to that joke? Just get out of that insurance plan. They don't want you in it anyway. They just want to collect the money from the patient. And the next thing you need to do is tell your patients why you did it. They'll get it. They do get it. Every time I see a patient now, and it's tragic, they need help. Their deductibles are $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. I mean, $10,000 that you have to pull out of your own pocket when you're paying $300 to $400 a month for the privilege of carrying a piece of plastic? Seriously. They get that, but they want an option. For my practice, I've incorporated some of what Dr. Atlas and Dr. Gross has done, a subscription model, $50 a month for a select number or select patients within my practice. It covers any ENT procedure or any visit that I do, and that would include hearing tests, wax removal, scopes, anything that I can physically do in my office that I own the equipment for, it's covered. And some people are really taking advantage of it, but it's a good thing. You know, money doesn't stand in the way anymore, and it's not a...
Earwax traders that we see all day long.
Bring them on. You know, that's the thing. You spend $200 to see your doctor just to get an earwax removal, right? And surgery is discounted. And I do a lot in my office now. I can count the number of times I've gone to the OR, and I'm talking doing sinus surgery, septoplasty, turbinate reduction, major surgeries under local in the office, because the technology for ENT has gotten so good that we don't have to put them under anesthesia, engage their huge deductible. You know, a balloon sinuplasty can be a copay, $45. Take them to the OR, you just engage their $3,000 deductible. So there's all ways we can do it to make it work for the patient, but it's individualized. And the most recent thing I discovered was medical cost sharing. It's written into the Affordable Care Act. It's initially started as a Christian-based method of payment where churches would basically pay for their own members, but it's gotten bigger since then. And there are three, well, let's talk about it for a second because people probably don't know what it is. It's not insurance. It's people sharing their medical expenses. It's allowed under the Affordable Care Act, so there are no fines. There aren't any doctor panels. There are no pre-certifications. And anything that's medically necessary is covered. That means cancer care. That means pregnancy and birth. It means surgeries. It means labs. It means chiropractic. It's really expanded to what the patients, it's actually patient-centered for real. And it's not for profit. It's actually non-profit. So people ask me, how in the hell can you, excuse my French, how can you afford to give all of these medical benefits or procedures, et cetera? How can it afford it? How can it afford to stay open? But there's an inherent change in the patients that choose this. These are patients who want to be partner in their care. They don't like to be sick. They like to actually practice prevention, and they're actually healthier. And you don't just have to apply this to healthy patients. Diabetics, people who are obese, they can also access the system, but they're put on a pathway where they help them get better. That's what healthcare is all about, isn't it? It's not about treating disease over and over again. It's about empowering your patients so they can take responsibility for their health and afford to do it. And it works. Medical cost sharing, like Samaritan, MediShare are two of the oldest ones, and Liberty Health Share is the one I'm going to talk about the most because it changed its model. So you don't have to belong to a church. You don't have to have, you can be in a partnership or a civil union as long as you're liberty-minded. And that means you want to take responsibility for your health, you can become a member. I became a member. My office is now part of it, because now I can afford to cover them for their health care needs. And the cool part about this is that the cost to the patient is a fraction of what they pay now. So if someone over 30, it's $199 a month maximum, with a $500 out of pocket, and that's total for the year, and you're covered at $1 million per occurrence per year for every occurrence. So gallbladder, $1 million. You know, God forbid you get hit by a bus, another $1 million. So you actually can afford to go to see your doctor. You have coverage. They have an indemnity plan within it that's part of Liberty Health Share, and they also have another arm of it that actually negotiates with hospitals, so they'll go in your stead and be your advocate and say, we're not paying this for a gallbladder. This is what we're giving you. Like it. And they like it. Imagine. What they want you to do is shut up and just do it. But when you say, let's negotiate this. This is what I have. What are you going to give me? Cite the reason that this is costing so much. And you've said this throughout the talk today. They can't tell you how much it costs because they make it up. And when we call them on it, they back down faster than you can say boo. And for the doctor side of it, and I'm also a physician and I see these patients, this is the best thing you can imagine. Somebody walking into your office with Liberty Health Share, the contracted amount with you and Liberty Health Share is 150% of Medicare, period. End of story. And if you're doing a surgery, it's 170% of Medicare. And if they're admitted to a hospital, it's 160% of Medicare. So I'm getting more than I ever got taking a commercial insurance. I'm not calling someone to ask for permission to do a procedure, and my patients can afford it. Why wouldn't anybody want to join this? And there's no fee to join as a physician. And this is how medical care should be delivered. And, I'm about choice. People want Obamacare, have at it. People want to do direct pay, great. But this is something for everybody. And I actually believe it can actually be used for direct pay as well. And they actually are expanding. So their $500 shared amount gets wiped away if the person belongs to a direct pay practice. So, this is here now. We don't have to wait for Congress to legislate it. We don't have to wait for it to be created. We just have to let our patients know. And we have to know about it so we can make conscious choices. If you want to ask how you can keep your practice open and not take third party, you cultivate these patients. You tell your patients who have high deductibles, hey, there's an alternative, check it out. And I've had patients go online, read about it, change, get their surgery, pay the $500, and I haven't seen them again. They're just happy as clams. And you're still within the letter of the law. Nothing has to change. And I think that's one way that we can fix this. Okay, it's not a lot of work here. It's just a paradigm shift. I'm worthy as a physician. My patients are worthy. We have value. Nobody gets to decide who our value is. We need to stop giving them that power. And when we have our own system, which is going to be parallel to this system, it will put pressure on it to change. They don't care what we say right now. But when people start voting with their feet and their pocketbooks, trust me, they'll come to the table. Thank you for listening.
Have a seat. You can pick your chair there. Instead of a fist bump, that moved me so much, I was moved to a hug.
Oh, well, look at that.
Thank you. Thank you. For a very moving presentation that I think summarizes how many of us feel. And you've taken some courageous actions, and you've taken advantage of some things that not everybody knew existed with the MediShare.
It's true.
I think a lot of people didn't know about it, and if they did, they thought, well, it just has to be a church group or something. And you said that it's beyond that now.
It's beyond that now, and it's growing about, I think, 800 families a month. So this has become, it's nationwide, and it's the best kept secret at this point. And the more that we know about it, it won't be. I think anything we can do to take our power back as physicians empowers our patients.
Now, which is the central, since we're speaking about that, and it's very, very, it answers a lot of questions and potential problems. What is the central organization or thing that the MediShare is? Because you said it's not insurance, but it's
No.
people sharing. So how does that generally work? Again, I'm not asking you to give us chapter and verse.
No, well,
We have 8 minutes.
I'm a member. So I can tell you that I did it. I made the jump because it was too good not
Okay.
to. And we didn't have coverage for a long time in my practice because it was so expensive. So I met with the executive director because I wanted to find out about it. And
Is that a local, regional?
it is national. It's
Okay.
centered in Ohio. That's where Liberty Health Share began.
Okay, great. Liberty Health Share. Okay.
But it is nationwide. They have the Georgia, everywhere, and growing. So I'm paying $199 a month because I'm over 30, and that's it. And if I have a health issue, I'll have to pay my $500 shared amount. It's not insurance, so it's not a deductible, it's not a copay. It's what I share with the other members of Liberty Health Share. But it stops at $500, and then I'm covered at 100%. And that's the cool part. It's many joining together to share their expenses. And I have to say that people go, oh, well, most people must use this, so they can't have much money in it. But it turns out that they're actually ahead. God bless you.
Sorry.
That they pay out about $1 million in claims a month, and 30% of that is their profit. They keep that in their pot. And they've been around for 15 years. So they started off as a little entity. And they were smart. They saw the curve, and they just started, hey, let's just expand this, let others in.
Because insurance, generally speaking, is regulated in each state, and each state is sort of their own little fiefdom of who they let in, who they don't let in, what the rules are, and what have you.
Because it's not insurance, you're not regulated.
Right, and now the Fed is now saying, well, we're the Fed, so we're going to give the states the rules now, and that's, at what point who's in control of the ball. And if you're saying that it's not a ball, it's an aerobie, it's
right.
not even a Frisbee.
It's not, and it's part of the law. So it's written into the letter of the law. It's not something ancillary made up. It's actually part of Obamacare. Good luck getting rid of that, right? So.
Well, they say, I forget which wonderful statesperson, man or woman, said it, but there's a saying that there's nothing as permanent as a temporary government program. So.
Well, you know what? This is the one time you get to use all of this against the people who are for it. They've been saying they've been spiking the football for a bit here. It's here to stay. Well, okay. Well, we're going to use it for our purposes now. We're going to make it work for us instead of having to pay into a system that was designed to basically work against us as physicians and patients.
So if we can use 1/10 of it to everybody's benefit, perhaps then not only will everybody benefit and get something out of it, but maybe the whole thing will move in that direction.
That's exactly right. You put pressure on the system from within.
Great, perfect. Dr. Haynes?
Thank you, and thank you for a great story and for your participation in the health sharing. One of the great things about it is, like you said, it exists right now. It is an option that is open to people. Unfortunately, the way the ACA has been written is only those plans, the sharing ministries and Liberty that were in existence prior to the passage of the ACA are allowed. No more new ones.
That's true.
So if the more people that get involved with this and demonstrate that it is a viable situation, this is one of the obstacles that we can work to remove as a positive. We don't have to do it, but it is one of the things that we can do to make it open to more people. So it's a great idea. Jump in, do it. But on the other hand, let's also start working to make this so it's not only these four entities that are able to legally offer this great service.
The more the merrier. I mean, this is about free market.
Yeah,
You build
if it's
it, they'll
working,
come.
if we can show how it's working, they'll have much less of an argument to say, well, we can't let anybody else have this kind of success, right?
I agree.
Thank you.
Tom Garcia, Houston, Texas. Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
And it has resonated with me for a long time, and I've been talking to my physicians at the West Houston Medical Center in Houston, Texas. And when I first brought it up to their attention about 18 months ago, there was this huge resistance in the lunch counter. Oh, no, Tom, this will never happen. It's a different conversation now.
Yeah.
And you are a leader in this, a pioneer, if I can use that term, but there's many, many, many people following you now. And in my opinion, with October the 1st deadline, I think it's going to be a tsunami.
I hope so. I mean, if it were going to be better, you know, we can see it rolled out badly. Every iteration should get better.
You're
it's
being
not.
kind. It rolled out badly.
Well, I'm being kind.
Every
In a public
iteration
setting.
got more expensive
Exactly.
and worse.
With less choice, less care given,
More money.
and more money, it's not going to get better.
Now
So,
everything, going all the wrong direction.
exactly.
My other comment, just for your consideration and for the panel and for everybody else in the room and for those that are listening, for the first time, the TMA has started an ACO, and it's called Practice Edge. You can go to our website and check it out. We've just started as of January the 1st, and we're very excited about this. Now, you know as well as I do, there's lots of trepidation and there's some challenges there. But so far, so good. So we're using that model in Ohio. You know, don't outstrip your capital. Grow small, slowly, and make sure you're doing all the right things.
Are you still taking third-party payers or no?
It's a modified deal where we will participate with savings. But again, you know, it isn't that I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government.
Agreed.
All right, we've got time for about one more question.
I'm starting to run wellness programs in my practice, and I believe I can provide more value to the patients that way. It's cash. Insurance is not involved. That can be a limiting factor for the person. Does something like Liberty Share, will they cover
Yes.
a wellness program?
Yes, they will.
will.
They cover chiropractic, Reiki, Qigong, anything that's been shown to be effective. Or you can't get up in your basement and have it covered, right? But yes, in answer to your question. And actually the patients could afford it. So it was all about being accountable to what their members wanted. And members wanted to think outside the box with Chinese herbal, with nutrition, not just writing a prescription.
Is there an approval process you have to go through to
Nope.
to vet your program with the
I
company?
mean, as long as you're using, what's your model? Is it nutritional based?
Yeah, it's nutrition, fitness, mindset. I put the whole
That's
thing in.
pretty standard, so no. I mean, you would just fill out an application to become one of the doctors that are part of the roster, put it that way, and that's it. You don't have to pay fee. I mean, you don't have to jump through hoops. It's about being part of the whole, and people just need to find you. That's the problem. We have to build it so people know to come, because they think there's one way to do it. We've been taught as doctors and patients, there's one way to do it. If you think outside the box, something's wrong with it. It can't be as good. It needs to be more expensive or something bad about it if it's not standardized. And that's our goal, right? It's to make people know we're offering value. To stay within the system as it stands now, you're going to pay more and get less. And you're going to have to like it. If you decide, I'm worthy, I'm not doing that. I want to think outside the box. This is here for you to access, and it will put pressure on that system. I mean, everybody understands that. Big box stores get that. McDonald's is now understanding that. Walmart's understanding that. People now have organic choices. Well, we didn't have that 10 years ago because we're voting with our pocketbook. We need to do that from a health perspective, too.
Fortunately, Dr. George, we've had another 5 minutes added to the roster by whoever adds 5 minutes, so we have time for another question.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. My name is Vikas Khan, and I'm an internal medicine doctor and also a practicing hospitalist.
Can you speak slightly closer to the mic for us?
So, I'm Vikas Khan, and I'm a hospitalist, internal medicine. So, a very terrific presentation, and the model is really one of the best I've heard so far. My question is, since it's based on sharing the healthcare costs, we have pretty much developed like such sort of culture in which people, they don't contribute much, but they sometimes want to get the most out of it. And basically I'm pointing out towards the non-compliance and patients who are practicing high risk, like smoking, drinking,
Sure.
drugs and all. So how would you counter these challenges if they end up becoming part of your pool? And how would you really address these issues? Because in this way, they could be consuming more compared to a person who is taking the individual responsibility and living a healthy lifestyle.
You're absolutely right. Well, there's a provisional section to it. So if you have obesity, morbid obesity, some sort of catastrophic illness, right? You can have had cancer, but you have to be cancer-free for 5 years. Otherwise, you would have people coming in, gaming the system. If you have a medical condition, you're provisional, they will help you become either treat it in such a way that you're stabilized, that you're not going to just become a risk when you enter it. So there's ways for the company or for Liberty Health Share to work with the person. They have dietitians, nutritionists, nurses that actually work with the patient so they can get healthier and then become full-fledged members. And the fact that if you've ever had cancer and you're cancer-free, that will not limit you. I think that was really cool. And there is no time to wait. So if you're healthy, you get covered right away. You don't wait 90 days for your coverage to kick in.
There's no exclusion period
No.
like with conventional insurance.
No, except if you have the provisional, that's it.
Okay.
So basically, it's really good for patients who want to take the individual responsibility and
Yeah, exactly.
and
It's all about personal responsibility
Okay.
on both sides. I wish more people would feel that way.
And I think it's a very good thing to introduce because nowadays the individual responsibility is being thought to be just having an insurance, and which is actually not true. Individual responsibility is much beyond than that, and choose healthy lifestyle basically.
Exactly.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. We have another question from Twyla, sorry. I'm going to get that wrong the whole conference, aren't I? I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you, Dr. George, and it's nice to meet you
Thank you.
finally. I just wanted to say that we did probably 5 years ago a paper on all the health sharing organizations, although we had not yet learned about Liberty Health Share at the time. So there are 3, and we have since learned from Politico. There's actually 163 or 164 of them in the country, but most of them are tiny.
Exactly.
Right, and so we have a comparison chart on our website for people to look at the different things.
And the website is, just for everybody's benefit, listening at home.
cchfreedom.org. I just appreciate that you brought this up as such a great option because it really is.
It is.
Thank you.
And it just sounds like this is too good to be true. Most people are like, I didn't know. I wish I had known. And I'm living the tale. And so is my office. And again, as a small business owner, you want to keep your employees, you want to be able to provide health insurance. I had to give it up for them and myself for many years. And now I don't have to. They're covered. We added AFLAC as a supplemental, so they're covered for everything now. They actually get paid to stay healthy. And those are thinking outside of the box ways to basically improve your coverage and pay a fraction of what you're paying, and then you're not going to be dinged with any fine through Obamacare. It's a win-win.
Right, and I'll just add, just to say, it's open choice.
Exactly.
You're not restricted to any doctor, any hospital, anything. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Great. In the last minute that we have, is it health savings account compatible, and is it pre-tax dollars that you're using to buy it, or?
No. Well, see, for me, health savings accounts are awesome, except for you're using third-party payers. They get to decide what you pay. They don't cover things. Your health savings account is moot, right? So I want to control my money. I don't want you to tell me I can't have what I want done. And again, Liberty Health Share has its limits. It's about medical necessity.
Well, I was just asking about the tax treatment of it, I guess.
Oh, it's considered, all right, so it's not a health savings account because that's something different, but
Okay.
as me covering my employees, I'm providing them a health, it's not a benefit, it's kind of a stipend. So I get to write it off from my taxes as well as a
Okay.
business owner. So there's financial positives to it.
Okay, well, that's
For
good
both.
to know, because we've all become little businesses,
have to.
unbeknownst to us.
That's true.
Well, thank you again, Dr. George, for
my
an excellent
pleasure.
presentation.
Thank you.